I was a feminist, but now I'm a tradwife. But was I more misogynistic as a feminazi or a Stepford wife? Let's find out. When I was a feminist, I hated men, but I also hated other women because I thought anybody who liked men didn't understand life or real feminism. But I was wrong. Actually, when I was a feminist, I was living a traditional wife role. I was homeschooling my kids and I was a stay-at-home mom. I was a dance mom and took my kids to every known class in the world. Tradwives are hated because they're accused of toxic positivity and internalized misogyny. But tradwives love to serve people, men, women, children. That's what we love to do. So, Jay, how can something that we love, like serving someone else, how can this be internal misogyny and toxic femininity?
Fantastic question. Let's start with something basic. Does everyone have choices? Free will?
Yes.
Okay. And when one of us makes a choice, does everybody else have free will to judge or label that choice however they want?
Yes.
Right. So if I choose to walk out of an interview or walk out of this podcast, everyone around has the choice to label me a diva if they want.
Sure. Yeah.
But I also have the choice to label my actions as upholding my boundaries.
Yeah, of course.
Exactly. So if you look at life, it's a whole series of trillions of choices, little choices throughout our lives that we make, and everyone else is free to judge and label them however they want.
Okay. Yeah.
That's it.
Right.
But only we know the truth of our motivations. Only we know why we do something.
Right.
The point is, no outsider knows your entire life journey. They don't know your internal emotional landscape. They don't know why you do what you do. They might claim to know, they might pretend to know, they might wish they knew, but they don't know.
Right.
So it might suit them to slap labels on your life choices. It might suit them to judge your life choices. It might suit them to call your passions, your hobbies, your loves, brainwashing, internalized misogyny, toxic femininity, patriarchy's agenda, right?
Sure.
But really, anyone who's doing that is being the most presumptuous asshole that you can imagine.
Fair enough.
And a hypocrite, because they're making trillions of choices throughout their life, and they don't want a single other person to judge those choices. They want to go through, make their choices, and be taken for what they are. They want to do something and have people understand their true motivation for doing it.
Yeah.
But then they turn around and see someone else making choices and slap a million labels on it.
It's very true. Very, very true. I think a lot of people in general want others to respect their beliefs and ideologies and their choices. But if they don't match that, then everyone else is wrong.
Exactly. So basically what it comes down to is whenever an outsider, i.e. someone who is not you, wants to label a choice you made, they can either be insanely wrong or 100% spot on or somewhere in between. But even if they're a qualified therapist or an expert consultant, they still can't know for sure. And even their educated guesses can be wrong. They might have no clue about why you did what you did. How many times have I done an action that you're sure you know why I did it, and you slap a label on it, a judgy label? It's happened. You don't do this so much anymore.
No, it happened actually last night. Last night, we were getting ready for bed, and you were kind of bristly and annoyed by something, and I automatically blamed myself. I was like, what did I do? Are you okay? And you were like, why? What? And I've gotten better with this, but it was just a weird automatic, like, oh, I assumed that you were upset by something that I did. And you were like, no, it's nothing to do with you. It's whatever it was. I don't remember. And I was like, oh, and then you went to the bathroom to brush your teeth and stuff. And I was like, why did you just assume it was you? Even though it's rare, it still happens between us too. Like, it happens to everybody.
Yeah, exactly. It's a great example and it's very common. And the thing is, even if you were right and I was upset because of you and not some other random thing. It's still on me to do the introspection and do the personal work and to zero in on my own motivations for why I'm doing something. Am I following a pattern? Am I brainwashed? Am I making some kind of snap judgment or making some kind of unaware choice? Or am I conscious of what I'm doing, happy to choose it, would choose it again, and this is the choice I made, and there's nothing wrong with it, and I'm not going to have anybody labeling it or shaming me out of it. That's on every individual. If you have free will, it's on you to discover your own motivations for why you do things, and no one else can do it for you. It is an internal, individual, personal process. You can get coaching or a guide or counseling or something to help you a little bit with that introspection. But tons of people go to those therapists and learn nothing for years because they don't do the introspection. It's not the therapist that's doing the work here. It's you.
Yeah.
And everyone outside you can't tell you why you're doing your things. That's why it's you and your,
right,
and not them and their.
Yeah.
And in the same way, you can't tell anyone else why they're doing what they're doing. You can take a guess, but it's going to be 50-50. You could be completely wrong. Even your educated guess is still 50-50 because you just don't know.
Yeah. And I've had people tell me that I'm a traditional wife because you make me, which is ridiculous to me because, first of all, if anyone who really knows me knows nobody can make me do anything I don't want to do. And two, that it's something that even when I was a feminist and super liberal and hated everyone, it was still something that I enjoyed, taking care of my family and cooking and cleaning and homeschooling and these things. So no one made, and trust me, plenty of people tried to help me to not have to do those things. Oh, there's regular school. We can get a cleaning lady. You don't have to do the, and I chose to do them because I like to do it, regardless of what other people think or thought of me or tried to make me do. So yeah, you're right.
Yeah, it's perfect. And when other people can't understand an individual's choices, it's so much more convenient to them to just be like, oh, they're brainwashed. Yes. Oh, it's internalized misogyny, because I wouldn't make that choice for me. So they couldn't possibly be doing this of their own free will. If they admit that that's a choice anyone could make, and it's a totally wonderful, fine choice to make for some segment of humanity, they have to put their judgment and their self-righteousness away and actually take a look at their life. They have to think, hey, am I consciously choosing my feminism, or did I get pushed into it? Or can I choose a career that other people would judge? I've secretly wanted this dream career that I've never pursued, but now I have to look at it because I see another person living their life and they don't care what others think. Yeah. They're forced to confront a huge chunk of their life they've been fearing and avoiding and sidestepping around as soon as they admit that you have free will and you made a choice. Most people don't want to admit that the world isn't full of brainwashed automatons and that they do have free will, and they get to wake up every day and make choices in their lives. They get to choose to stay the same. They get to choose to break a pattern. They get to choose to follow an ideology or disavow an ideology.
Yeah. And, there's plenty of things in this world that people do that I just cannot understand, but I don't judge for this. I have someone in my life who, whenever she comes across someone's decision that she doesn't understand, she always says, I wouldn't make that choice. I don't understand. I wouldn't do that. Like, she wants it to come across as I'm open-minded and they can do what they want. But it feels, the feeling behind it is like, oh, I wouldn't do that because I'm better than that. Now, I don't know if that's true because, again, we don't know what other
why
people,
she says that.
But that feeling I get, it's just like, okay, do you have to say that? But okay, I don't say anything.
All good. It might rub you the wrong way. Yeah. You can trust your feelings or whatever. But the whole point is only she knows why she says that. And so maybe she'll come to the conclusion that, oh, I'm saying this out of judgment. Or maybe she'll come to the conclusion that I'm just saying this because I like to state my preferences and I don't hold it against anybody. You get your own feeling. You feel one way about it. I'm not saying you're wrong, but you can never know. Like, you can't know. It's her life journey.
Yeah.
And when she's 90 on her deathbed or whatever, she has to look back and in those moments be like, was I being judgy, or did someone just misinterpret me? I just talk with a harsh tone and it came off that way.
Right.
Could be anything.
Yeah. But also that and my point really is that even though I don't understand really why you would say this every single time about anyone, I don't say anything. Like, I don't judge either way. I don't accuse her. I don't say, oh, it's because you're jealous, or, oh, it's because of you're rude and mean, or whatever. I just let her say it. And I'm like, okay, like I wouldn't either, but okay.
Yeah, you don't slap a label on
just to kind of end the conversation. Yeah, I wouldn't either, but all good, whatever. So, yeah.
Well, good. And does it answer your question of why people might label tradwife behavior in this way?
Yeah, I think they need a label for this. They don't understand what it is. It's the same like I was just explaining. Like, if I say, I'm a traditional housewife and they don't get it, it's easy for them to say, oh, well, she just has internal misogyny. And for them or whoever to understand why I do what I do, because they don't really get that I like it and it's natural for me and it's normal.
Yeah, it relieves the burden of mental work and critical thinking.
Yeah.
Which is what most people love to do.
Yes. Yeah, there's not too much critical thinking going on nowadays. So.
Our audience is more critical thinkers.
Yes.
But if you see somebody throwing labels around willy-nilly, chances are they're not thinking critically. They flee from nuance and understanding, and they're hypocritical.
Yeah.
Because they don't want other people to throw labels around at them and their choices.
Agreed. Well, this is wonderful and super helpful. And Rise Nation, I'd love to know, have you ever been in an experience with somebody where they told you information about themselves or you found something out and they gave you the reason, but you threw a label at them because you didn't quite understand or you didn't want to go deeper on it? And like, I gave you the example of the person that I know who makes this comment and I don't really get it. And I do my best not to label, but I have in the past plenty of times. So, yeah. So if you want to share, I'd love to hear about it and let's discuss. So when I was a stay-at-home mom and I homeschooled my kids, I was super liberal. I mean, I voted Democrat since I was 18 across the board for every election. So I'm wondering why the media portrays tradwives as being super alt-right Republican conservative.
Well, think about it. What is the liberal media's agenda?
To destroy America. I'm just kidding.
Okay, well, what's another word for liberals? They are
woke.
Yeah, maybe.
Democrats.
Okay, starts with a P.
They're progressive, yes.
Right. So their agenda is progress.
They want progress, yes.
Yeah, their idea of progress.
Yes, their idea of progress.
Right. They want progress pretty much at all costs. That's the liberal media's thing.
Yes.
And so they want to throw any old way of doing any old thing in any old manner and any old tradition, right?
Yeah, they want to even throw out what a woman is.
Right. Or what gender is.
Yeah.
Yeah. If they had their way, every single thing would progress.
Sure.
Forever and ever, even if it twisted things into the weirdest shape imaginable.
Yes.
They'd still be thrilled.
Yes.
It's progress, they would say.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not anti-progress or anything like that. In fact, I want everybody to rise up.
Yes.
But the liberal media has one agenda, or maybe two, if you look at media in general. So their agenda of progress basically wants to get rid of family values, get rid of family traditions and conservative stances and old stability and all the familiar things we're all used to. They want to revolutionize everything all the time.
Right.
And they heavily focus on a person's individual freedom to be as puffed up as they want.
Yeah.
Even if it ruins the fabric of everything that's come before.
Yeah.
Even one person should be allowed and free and encouraged and celebrated to be as puffed up as they want. That's kind of their agenda.
Yes, I agree.
They wouldn't phrase it that way. And I'll probably piss a lot of liberals off by phrasing it that way. But if they were to take an honest look at things, they literally would have the world be as fucked up as possible in the name of progress and individual freedom if they could.
Yeah, they've made everything uglier and harder and just more confusing. So much so that I have left the Democratic Party that I have been a part of since I was 18 years old.
All good. I'm not here to slam liberals.
No, I know.
I just want to get clear on their media's agenda. Not all liberals.
No.
Just the overall
understand.
Liberal media's agenda.
Okay. Yes.
So if the liberal media's agenda is progress to an extreme, what is the conservative media's agenda?
Well, then it would be to keep everything old the way it already is, traditional, and the way it's always been, or the way that they've kept it. Like, if they could revert back to 1776, they probably would too.
Right. They want the opposite of revolution.
Yes.
They want tradition.
Yes.
They want conservatism.
Yes.
And the family unit has been around for who knows how long, and they would like it to continue staying around.
Yes.
And so they don't like anything that goes against that. Yeah. So if we could sum up the conservative media's agenda, it would be stagnation, zero growth, narrow-minded elitism or something.
Yes, agreed.
Yeah, and they won't call it that. And I'm probably going to piss off a lot of conservatives by saying that's what it boils down to.
Right.
But if they take an honest look, you never see them championing any kind of revolution. You never see them pushing for progress. You never see them encouraging people's individual freedom, unless it's the freedom to make more money for the capitalists or whatever. They're very, very limited. It's a very limited agenda. Yes. And it's extreme. And anyone looking can see, like, it's not difficult to see the conservative media's agenda or the liberal media's agenda. Mm-hmm. They couldn't be more transparent or more obvious or more upfront about it.
That's true.
We're biased as hell. We don't give a fuck, and we don't care if the world gets fucked. They have zero tolerance for the other side. Yeah. They can't find balance anywhere or compromise anywhere.
It's true. It's true.
What kind of way of life is this? A life without balance or open-mindedness to the other side? What? This is how kids in schoolyards argue. This is our media?
Yeah.
And, I have journalist friends and reporter friends and newspaper friends, and I understand the attention game and the algorithm. I get all that. I'm not against it. But I'm saying, if your media gets to the point where you're just spouting extremities with zero consideration to the rest of life or the rest of the world or all the other aspects that exist in society, how's that going to go? How's that going to work out for you? Does that kind of extremism end in wars, or does it end in happy, happy, joy, joy everyone loves?
It ends in wars.
Yeah.
And actually, you're saying this, how each side is portrayed in their agenda is exactly why I'm partyless. I don't fit with the left. I don't fit with the right. I'm somewhere in the middle, leaning a little bit right, leaning a little left. Like, depends on the topic and depends on the day. So
then I label you as centrist.
Yeah. So it makes more sense now to me that you break it down like that. So thank you.
Yeah. And there's one more layer to it, because the entire media's agenda is what? The media has one job.
Scare the crap out of people.
Like, now they choose to scare the crap out of people. But why did they do that? Because they wanted people's
attention.
Exactly. That is the media's game. From the beginning, standing on the newspaper corners or even earlier, the town square, the town crier or whatever. Hear ye, read all about it, whatever. Yeah. Attention, attention, attention. The rest of the industries, they know attention is important or whatever.
Sure.
But the media, they don't have anything but attention. Yeah. They don't have a product. They don't have research. They don't have an invention. They just have other people's information or stories that are going on, and they're in the attention game. Yeah. And it's everyone competing for attention with their stories. So they become more and more extreme. So you can see how this would happen.
Makes sense.
I hope this explains why the media treats tradwives the way they do. If they want attention and they want to be extreme, what better way than to call tradwives, who are clearly part of traditional family values and conservative way, why not slap a label on them and make them out into some villainous boogeyman that they can hold up as scary and get attention.
Fair.
Right? It's perfect for the liberal media.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't they call tradwives part of the alt-right?
Yeah, and the Republicans do it with feminists. They hold up the feminists as these man-hating, horrible women who want all men to die. And I know it's not that extreme. As a former feminist, that's not true. And I understand both sides of it. So yeah, that makes total sense. And it's kind of annoying. It
Sure.
really is. Because anyone who sees me as a traditional wife is going to make a lot of assumptions because of the media about me. and they would be wrong.
Yeah, but this gets even deeper, because if I look at your browsing habits and surfing habits and clicking habits, what am I going to see you click on? Gentle, nuanced stories or the extremes? What did you send me today in my email? Was it a gentle, nuanced story or was it an extreme?
It was an extreme.
Right. And what did you click on yesterday? nuanced stories or an extreme.
Extreme.
Yeah. So all of us, and myself included,
Yeah.
if we keep clicking on extremes and the media's only game is to get our attention, what are we setting ourselves up for? A healthier, more sane media?
No,
Right.
more of the same. Probably actually worse.
Yeah.
Because what gets our attention now isn't the same things that got our attention 10 years ago. And 10 years from now, it needs to be even more extreme to get our attention. So it's only going to get worse. Like, I know this is kind of off topic for a moment, but this kind of explains to me why the woke left, and I don't mean classic liberals like myself, I mean the woke left, have gone to the extreme that they have, and the alt-right as well. So this may, in their media, in their news reporting, in their stories and all that, this makes a lot more sense to me. So thank you.
Yeah, my pleasure.
I didn't understand before, so yeah.
Yeah. And there's some other news outlets. There was a new one that shows you balanced views. It shows you news from everywhere and all the different perspectives, left, right, center, how they all cover the story, and it shows you the differences and so on. But how famous is this thing? How popular is it? I can't even remember the name.
I never heard of it. I didn't know.
You know, if I really want change in the media, I need to sign up for that service.
Yeah.
And I need to tone down my clicking on extreme things.
Yeah, you're right.
But if I go back to my computer after this and go click on some more extreme things, I'm part of the problem. And you know what? I'm probably going to do that. And when we make content, I'm probably going to make the headlines more extreme and the sound bites more extreme to get people's attention.
Same.
Because I can either die and starve and be ignored by the entire world and be completely dismissed as worthwhile of anything, or I can put my hand up, stand out, use the clickbait, and get people's attention. It's a pretty simple choice. Even the nicest, most Mother Teresa person around is going to be like, we can't give charity away if we don't have people's attention. We need to get some attention.
Yeah.
I think we're going to have to make some clickbait. So until there's an overall shift in the system or the public or society or consumers, and it could start with me and you, until that shift comes, everyone else is going to keep playing the attention game and get more and more extreme. And everyone has to find their personal line of where to draw it. The media almost has no lines, except what the law stops them from saying. Maybe you have slightly different lines. I don't know. Maybe your lines will change over time, but this is the media game, the attention game in 2023.
That's good. Thank you. So I left my grown kids in Florida so that I can go and chase my dreams. After years of helping them chase their dreams with competitive dance and acting in New York City. And I get shit on by my family who thinks I should still be raising my grown kids. And it's not just me. Even a feminist mom who works outside the home gets shit on for not being around for her kids enough. And there's plenty of movies to support this. And those same feminist moms will get shit on for not having a career if they stay home with the kids. Because feminists don't do traditional roles. And the feminists who decide not to have kids get shit on for being childless women. And now that I'm a trad wife, I still get shit on too for being a trad wife and doing what feels natural to me. So, Jay, what can us women do?
Okay, that was a lot, but the answer is simple. Do whatever you want to do. Like, what are you looking for here? Praise? Approval from society? What is winning? Like, we can't win, but what would be winning for you? What do you want? But it doesn't even matter because there have always been segments of society that have been heavily judged for all of their choices. Cam girls, salesmen, and nerds were all heavily judged and couldn't win for ages, but they just kept being themselves. And eventually, all three groups of people found a place. A lot of feminine folk, or you know what, a lot of people live their lives trying to avoid judgment like it's the plague.
Yes. Oh, God, yes.
And it sets them up for a terrible life. Living life in fear of judgment is like a goldfish living life in fear of water. Unless you're a hermit, you live in society that's rampant with judgment. You're swimming in a sea of judgment, always. Does avoiding judgment sound like a great path for you?
I mean, no.
Right. So I don't care if you're a feminist or a trad wife or a cam girl or a salesman or a nerd or whatever. Avoiding judgment is an impossible task, and trying to avoid it is the definition of futility. So if you want to waste your life in a futile attempt to avoid judgment, you go right ahead. But personally, I'd much rather do what I want, be myself, follow my dreams, and not give a fuck about anybody's judgment. I don't care if I get shit on by family, or shit on by the media, or shit on by trolls in the comments. Caring what those people think or what they're saying with their labels and their judgments is like trying to empty the ocean with a toothbrush. So my answer to your question is stop avoiding judgment, stop people pleasing, stop bowing to others' mood swings and preferences, start following your heart, doing what you love, being who you want to be, regardless of what people say, because there have always been mistreated segments of society and heavily judged segments of society. And if you happen to fall into one of those, the trick is not to care. Just keep moving forward and you will find your place in life.
I agree, totally. But I also think that it doesn't matter what group of people you fall into. It doesn't matter male or female or whatever gender you identify outside of that. Whoever you are, someone is always going to judge what you do. If you listen to them, they'll judge you. If you don't listen to them, they will judge you. So do whatever the heck you want to do. And who cares? There's always going to be someone who judges.
Slay shame.
Yeah, I'm wearing the perfect shirt for this. Slay shame. And this shirt came because we were helping people empower themselves to not be ashamed of their kinks and their sex life and sex work and just everything in their life in general. And I fully 100% believe that nobody should be ashamed of the things that they do and the people they are, because the people who make you feel ashamed are just projecting their own insecurities and their own fears and their own whatevers on to you. So I fully embrace being a tradwife. I love what I do, but I don't judge you if you choose something else. If you don't want to serve your partner dinner every night or just serve him in general, that's on you. Please do whatever you want.
Or them.
Do whatever it is you want to do. There's like literally no judgment or shame here. And Rise Nation, if there's something going on in your life that you want to share with us, maybe you have a story about somebody shaming you for your own traditional role or maybe your non-traditional role. I'd love to talk about it and hear about it. Please share in the comments or my email is always open. So feminists believe that women should make their own choices, whatever it is. However, I would like to know if they really believe this, then why do they genuinely seem to hate untraditional wives?
I'm going to answer your question, but first, is it fair to lump all feminists into a group and assign a view to them? Like, feminists think this. Can I just say Latinas think that?
No, but that's the definition of feminism, that women should choose the life they want.
Still, though, like, if I meet a feminist and she says, no, that's not the definition of feminism, then what am I dealing with?
Okay.
Right?
Right.
She's going to be like, how dare you lump me in and say that? Like, we're not all like that. And do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah, because some feminists would say they're feminists because they believe in equal pay. And another will say they believe in equal gender rights or whatever, or that people of color should all be equal, and it has nothing to do with women making their own choices. Yeah. So it's a fair play.
Okay. So that said, if you do happen to meet a feminist who believes in individual choice and champions free choice, and who also judges, blames, or shames tradwives for their choices, now what you're dealing with is a hypocrite.
Yes, my whole point of the question.
Right. And I'm going to answer that question. But a more important question might be, what are you doing hanging around with hypocrites? Why are these people in your life? Why are they in your circle? Why are you conversing with them? Why are you giving them the time of day? Why are you not being disciplined with your time and your boundaries and moving away from them, or finding alternative people, or stating a boundary and moving on? Why are you engaging with hypocrites? Why would anything a hypocrite says matter to you?
It's a good question.
Thank you. Because most people have this problem. They don't keep their circles clean. Keep your circles clean.
Yeah, fair play.
It's on you. If you have a messy room, whose fault is it?
Mine.
And whose responsibility to clean up?
Mine.
Right. If you have a messy computer, you can't find files, it's disorganized, whose fault is that?
Mine.
And whose responsibility to clean up?
Mine.
Even if you hire someone to clean it up for you, you still have to take responsibility and take action. No one is magically swooping in to solve this problem for you and self-hire.
Yeah, you're right.
And so then it comes to people's circles where having the discipline to keep it clean is more important than ever. Way more important than a clean room, way more important than a clean computer, is keeping your circles clean, which means people that suit you, everyone in their right place, everyone in their right role. Like if someone disrespects you, they need to be ejected from the circles, or it needs to be talked out until they are respecting you.
Right.
So many people let terrible people into their circles for massive amounts of time. And if it's not a conscious choice that you're aware of and you know what you're doing, those people will drag you down. I had someone in my circles for years who was dragging me down. I was conscious about it, and eventually there came a time where maybe that had to change. The point is, if you were keeping your circles clean, you wouldn't even ask this question, because you would know hypocrites don't get anywhere near me.
Yeah.
You either walk your talk or you get out.
Yeah. And actually, I want to give a little shout out to a friend of mine. I'm not going to use her name, but she's a feminist, and she's super respectful of my feelings and my boundaries and our relationship. And actually, when we made up and you came home and stuff, she was super supportive. And she was like, you seem so much happier with him than without him. And you
do what makes you happy.
And she said, you seem really happy when you're in service to this person, to you, because you guys don't know each other. And I was shocked. I was like, I'm sure there's many other feminists out there that feel the same way. I'm sure there's many people in the world that aren't hypocrites, but it was so nice to like meet someone like this who I feel like I can be myself with and be honest about who I really am. Where there are some feminists in my past, in my life, that if we were like actively friends now and I spent time with them, I would hide that part, or my traditional relationship with you, I would hide that from them. So it's really nice to know that there are people out there who are feminists and who aren't hypocrites and don't push that agenda onto other people. So you know who you are, and I love you.
All that aside, to answer your question, have you ever heard the phrase, anything you're annoyed about is just something inside you being reflected back to you?
Yes.
So if you hated people who were messy, it's because you've been messy in the past. You're going to be messy in the future. You obsessively avoid being messy like a crazy person or something. Like you have some issues about mess yourself that you are not accepting of.
No.
And so if you don't accept it in yourself, or if you judge it in yourself, you will see it outside you probably fairly often, or in others.
Yes.
So if you know a feminist who hates or shames or judges or doesn't accept the choices of a tradwife, what is likely about her, the feminist?
Well, she's projecting her own stuff.
Likely.
Because
maybe I'm a carnivore and I prefer meat. Mm-hmm. But if other people eat vegetables, I don't get riled up about it and have a fit and start getting judgy and blaming. I'm like, okay, you do you. I prefer meat. I'm going to be a carnivore.
Yeah.
I have no issues with it. I accept my own diet and I accept my own choices and I accept the dietary choices of others. You can tell this person has no issues with veganism and he's not out there harping on vegans. But if I was a carnivore and I went to a party and there was a vegan there and I started getting up in their face, oh, yeah, okay, another vegan. I've seen this choice before. Brilliant move, Sherlock. You know what that's going to do to the planet? Like, you're going to deforest the rainforest with your stupid choices. Like, if I get all bitchy about it, it's like, dude, you have some dietary issues of your own. Like, you're not comfortable with food. And I don't know what you're judging about yourself or not accepting about yourself, but this is reflected in others for you. You're going to have to deal with this. This is something for you to work on. That's the whole principle at work here.
Yes.
So yeah, your feminist friend who fully supports your tradwife lifestyle probably has no issues, and she's happy to make her choices, and she's happy to support other people's choices, and there you go.
Yeah.
But there are certain other feminists who might not go that route, and they might get all uppity and bent out of shape when they meet someone who makes a choice they don't like or chooses a tradwife lifestyle or something. Mm-hmm. And if they do, according to this principle, they likely have some tradwife tendencies or inklings or a desire or something in their past or something in their future that they are not accepting of about this topic.
Well, that's really good because when we met, as you know, I was living a dominant lifestyle.
You got pretty uppity about a lot of people's choices.
I was very, what's the word I'm looking for? Judgmental about women who were submissive for years because I secretly was submissive and wasn't living that life. Wasn't admitting it to myself. I wasn't admitting it to anyone. I didn't admit it to anyone until I met you. And so this makes a lot of sense for me. So now I fully embrace it and I don't care what anyone does. And the times that things do pop up when I do every now and then feel judgmental towards someone else, it's usually something about myself that I don't like. And I haven't had an experience yet where I judge someone else and it wasn't about me. It had nothing to do with them. It was solely about what they were showing me about myself that I didn't like. So I think I need to really remember this when other people do it back to me. I need to remember that it's not me. My lifestyle or whatever I'm doing is triggering something in them that they want to be like me, or they have some issues with their own stuff that have nothing to do with me. So thank you. It's really, really helpful. So if you really liked that, you'll love our book. It's the world's first self-help coffee table book. And it's the most gorgeous images in there, all done by Jay. And we are giving away free copies in a PDF form of our book. The link is in the description now. The link to also read about the book is in the description. So you can buy the actual copy of the book, or you can get the free PDF and see if you like it before you invest. And we're doing it because we love you. We don't make any money from the book, and we really just want you to have the information. And like, we know we give the podcast away for free and stuff, but the stuff in the book is next level. Like, it goes along with all the stuff we talk about all the time. And yeah, so thank you.
Yeah, the podcast is casual conversation, long form. The book is millions of edits, tiny edits to make sure every word counts. It's a 30-page book, 27-page book, and I had to make every word count. So it gives you the most value in the least time and space. It's a short, easy, fun read. You can listen to us ramble in conversation here on the podcast. I do my best to edit it, but it doesn't hold a candle to the pages of the book.
Great. Now the art looks beautiful, but it's not the same in the PDF as it is in the book, because I chose the most expensive, most beautiful, highest quality paper to print on. And that's why we don't make money off of it, because your experience matters to me more than making a few bucks. So yeah, check it out. And if you do, I'd love to hear what you thought. You can email me or throw it up in the description or tweet me or whatever however you want to get in touch with me.
Yeah, free version or beautiful hardcover copy. Let us know what you think.
Yeah, please. Thank you. We're going to move on. So we were recently at a party, and I noticed that I was the only one that served their partner their food.
I'm very grateful.
And there's no judgment at all. I don't care. But I kind of felt bad watching all the guys like huddling around the little table and like not knowing what to do and not knowing. And I know these are grown men and they can feed themselves and they can handle it. It's not a big deal. But I did feel kind of sorry for them. So even though men can do this, what is the big deal? What's so wrong with a woman serving a man his meal at a party?
Are you asking me?
Yes. Yes.
Well, I thought it was rhetorical.
No, that's my question. All right, maybe I should.
No, because
okay.
No, because nothing is wrong with that.
Oh.
After all our discussion about making choices and having free will and doing what you want and not letting people slap internalized misogyny on every choice you make,
right?
How could anyone think there's something wrong with this? If you like to do that, go ahead and do that. I know all grown women can find a way to open a jar. There's lots of ways. They'll figure it out, even if it takes them longer than it would me, or even if they do it faster than me. I fully know they're capable of it, but I enjoy opening jars when you ask me. I enjoy opening jars. You enjoy having them opened. Perfect match. You enjoy making and serving food. I enjoy being served food and consuming it. A perfect match. An employer loves hiring staff. A jobber loves being hired. Perfect match. There's nothing wrong in any of these reciprocal relationships. Each person is doing the thing that they enjoy doing, and they match up and find other people who enjoy the opposite. This is how the whole world works. You can name any kink or any fetish or any weird thing that you enjoy, any preference, every kind of lifestyle, no matter what. And there's someone out there who's happy to play the reciprocal end.
That's true.
So
That's
how could
really
that be
true.
wrong? Person A wants this particular thing fulfilled in their life, and person B is desperately seeking for someone to fulfill this for. It's their passion. They love fulfilling that thing. Mm-hmm. Person A likes opening jars. Person B likes asking for them to be opened. Great, right?
Yeah.
The same goes for serving a man at a party or at the dinner table or whatever. And going back to the last question, if someone does have an issue with these totally free-willed choices, what might it mean about them? Might it mean they secretly want to do this themselves, or they haven't made peace with others who do this, or they have some issue with this kind of thing in general, or that they secretly want to play the opposite end? They want to be served, or they want to serve, or something, and they just haven't made peace with it inside, and you can feel it, and it comes out, and it's projected, and they start getting real bent out of shape about someone else's totally normal choices? What are the chances? I wonder if that principle holds up. Could we do a study? How many people are like this? Every time you see someone judge your choice to serve, what might it mean about them? I don't know. I can't say. I can't make any assumptions. Only they know themselves, but it's definitely food for thought.
That's interesting because at the party that I'm talking about, I made a bean dip and everyone went crazy for it. I had like 5 or 6 people come up to me and rave about it.
And one of them was a private chef.
Yeah, one of a professional chef was raving about my bean dip. And y'all, like, I'm a great cook. I really am. It's something that if I wanted to do professional, I'd probably even get a Michelin star. Like, I'm very good at what I do. However, there was one lady at the party who, like, everyone brought something, but everyone brought store-bought stuff, which is fine. Like, no big deal. It was good. I had some of the store-bought stuff. It was great. One girl pulled me aside and was like, oh, we brought a store-bought, I think it was a salad. We brought a store-bought salad. Why did you make something? And I was like, because I show love by making food. This is one of the ways I show love. And I love our guest, our host, and I wanted to, and then she proceeded to ask me exactly how I made it because she wanted to make it again. And so I'm only bringing it up because everything you said, even though there was like no judgment, she was curious, but I could tell, like at the time I didn't really know, but now you saying all this, I could tell like she wanted to make something. She probably was like, I should have made something. I could have made something. And she probably felt bad that she didn't make something and she brought something store-bought anyway. And so I think that was a good example of that. And it didn't feel judgy in any way, shape, or form. But I could tell, like, man, I wish I could have, had that same experience. So
yeah, it goes with my point. How many people secretly want to serve someone else, serve them food? And entrepreneurs are all about service, customer service, customer support, serve the people, serve up a product, serve up a menu, serve up something.
Solutions.
Yeah. Tons of people love to serve.
Yeah.
So,
I'm also glad you just said that too, because some people may have misunderstood the way I use service, because I've used it a few times throughout the podcast episode. So thank you for using those examples, because service doesn't mean I'm on my hands and knees serving him like a slave, even though
that is one
do
form
that.
of service.
Yes. Even though that's my thing too, that's not the service I mean. So thank you for using those examples. I appreciate it. Because there's many, many ways to serve people, and you can be of service without doing things you hate.
Yep, but you'll have a lot of trouble if you judge some people's forms of service and not others. If you're all picky and choosy about who's allowed to serve and how they're allowed to serve, that usually says more about you, and you're going to reap what you sow.
Yeah, exactly. And actually, feminists are serving, well, they think they are. I think the heart of feminism is to serve other women so that they can live an equal life to men, even though many traditional wives, and I can't speak for everyone, but myself, I don't want to be equal to you, because I don't see myself as equal to you. Not that I see myself as less than in any way either, but we can't do the same things, and nor do I wish for us to do. You can open jars and reach tall things for me. I don't want to do either. I don't want to open a jar, and I don't want to get on a ladder to reach things, but I could if I wanted to, but I choose not to. So, yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. Apples and oranges.
Yeah.
They're not equal, but they're not less than each other either.
Yeah, exactly. Great example. And they're both fruit. Okay. Well, thank you so much. I do have one more thing I'd like to share, though. So for this episode, I'm going to add my own final thoughts. Even though I am a traditional wife, I am not alt-right conservative, nor do I have internal misogyny. And I am not a toxic feminine woman. I'm also not doing whatever Jay tells me to do because he's a man and I'm a woman. I do what he tells me to do because I want to. I have asked him to have this type of relationship, and he enjoys it as well. However, if you're a feminist or not a feminist and you hate traditional values and you hate traditional wives and what we stand for, that's okay. I'm totally cool with it. You can like your thing and I can like mine. Someone has to do it. And if it's not going to be you, it's going to be me and the rest of the trad wives who love it too. Let's all just be the type of woman who supports other women, no matter what choices they make, no matter who they choose to love. Let's just be women who support other women with love.
That was beautiful.
Thanks. Jay, thank you so much for the amazing episode and all the answers to my questions. You're amazing and I appreciate you. But I just want to know, do you have any final thoughts that you'd love to share with our wonderful audience?
Yes. In an ideal world, everyone would be free to make their own choices and be themselves, judgment-free. No one would say a word. But this is reality. We live in a world of constant judgment, a sea of judgment. So you're always going to find folks who are blaming, shaming, guilting, and judging you. The question isn't, what do we do about judgment? The question is, what are you going to do when you encounter it? Are you going to own your choices and own your lifestyle? Are you going to own your label of trad wife or dominant or submissive or queer or non-binary or feminist or liberal or conservative or whatever you choose to be? Are you going to own that and gently but firmly stand for it? Or are you going to throw a hissy fit, have an emotional tantrum internally or externally? Are you going to get all bent out of shape and start picking fights with people or getting defensive rather than just calmly owning your choice and gravitating towards people who support it because they're out there? And that's the game of life. The game of life is trillions of choices, owning them and moving forward despite judgment. So are you going to play the game of life well, handle things with a zen detachment and keep doing you? Or are you going to crumble under the haters, let them push your buttons and spew more drama into the world? The choice is yours. But I believe if you're part of our audience, You're going to own your choices and move forward gently but firmly. I believe in you. You got this.
And that's why our book and this podcast are called Eyes Wide Open.
Keep rising.